let me ask you something honest. When you read the latest climate report, do you feel it? That knot in your stomach? That quiet terror that maybe we've already passed the point of no return? You lie awake thinking about your children's future. You feel guilty every time you fly, every time you buy something. You see the data, rising temperatures, disappearing species, and you feel small, powerless. And the worst part, you're exhausted, and you're wondering if it's even worth trying anymore. 2,300 years ago, a Chinese philosopher named Zhuangzi faced a world just as chaotic as ours. Wars, corruption, environmental collapse. But here's what's remarkable. Zhuangzi didn't burn out. He didn't become cynical. He found a way to live with wisdom, humor, and profound peace, even in the midst of crisis. Today, I want to share Zhuangzi's wisdom with you, not as abstract philosophy, but as a practical antidote to the environmental anxiety that's draining your life. If you're tired of feeling powerless about the planet, stay with me. So why Zhuangzi? Why not a modern scientist, a policy expert, or a climate activist? Because Zhuangzi addresses the root of your anxiety, not the symptoms. He offers 3 keys. Key 1, Wù Lùn, the equality of all things. You are not separate from nature. You are nature. This shifts anxiety from saving the planet to caring for myself. Key 2, Xiao, free and easy wandering. Act without attachment to results. This frees you from the exhausting question, does my action even matter? Key 3, 无用之用, the usefulness of the useless. Not everything valuable can be measured. This liberates you from the tyranny of efficiency. By the end of this video, you'll have 3 specific practices inspired by these keys, tools you can start using today to transform anxiety into action, guilt into grace, and exhaustion into energy. Let's begin. Zhuangzi's first great insight, Wù Lùn, equality of all things. Here's the core idea. You are not separate from nature. You are nature. Think about it. The oxygen you're breathing right now was just released by a tree. The water in your body once flowed through ancient oceans. The carbon in your cells was once part of stars that exploded billions of years ago. You are not on the earth. You are of the earth. Now, I can hear the skeptic in the room. Maybe you've heard of the modern philosopher Slavoj Žižek. He describes our current condition as a cynical age. The cynical mindset says, I know the system is broken. I know the planet is dying. But I'm just one person. I'm powerless. So I'll just keep participating, keep scrolling, keep buying, because what else can I do? This is cynical participation. You know the truth, but you act like you don't, because you feel too powerless to change it. It's a survival mechanism, but it's exhausting. It breeds shame. It makes you feel complicit. Zhuangzi offers a radical alternative. He doesn't say ignore the system. He says, the system and you are not 2 different things. When you see yourself as separate from the world, you feel powerless. You feel like a drop trying to stop an ocean. But when you see yourself as part of the whole, your actions aren't drops in an ocean. They are the ocean moving itself. Zhuangzi wrote,
天地与我并生，而万物与我为一.
Heaven and earth are born with me, and all things are one with me. This isn't naive optimism. It's ontological truth. You cannot be separate from what you are part of. Here's the shift. The cynic says, I know it's bad, but I can't change it. Zhuangzi says, I am it. Changing my relationship with it is changing it. Here's the practice. Every morning, take 3 minutes. Close your eyes, breathe, and imagine. The air entering your lungs came from the forest. The water you'll drink today is part of an ancient cycle. Your body will one day return to the soil that feeds future life. Then ask, how can I honor this connection today? Maybe it's choosing to walk instead of drive. Maybe it's buying less. Maybe it's simply pausing before you consume and feeling gratitude. This isn't about perfection. It's about remembering who you are. When you stop seeing yourself as separate from nature, anxiety transforms into care, not the exhausting kind of care that comes from obligation. but the natural kind that comes from love. You don't guilt yourself into brushing your teeth, do you? You do it because you care for your body. Zhuangzi invites you to care for the earth the same way, not as a burden, but as self-care. Before we move to the second key, I want to pause for a moment. I'm just starting this channel with a simple mission, to share Eastern wisdom not as museum pieces, but as living tools for modern life. Whether it's anxiety, burnout, or feeling disconnected, I believe these ancient traditions have something vital to say. But creating this content takes time and dedication. If what you've heard so far resonates with you, if you feel like this is a conversation you want to be part of, I'd be deeply honored if you hit subscribe. Thank you for supporting this work. Now, here's where Zhuangzi gets really powerful. One of the biggest sources of environmental anxiety is this question: does my action even matter? You recycle, but corporations pollute more. You reduce your carbon footprint, but governments delay action. You feel like a drop in an ocean of problems. Zhuangzi has an answer: 逍遥游, free and easy wandering. The core idea is simple: act without attachment to results. Zhuangzi tells a story about a giant bird called the peng. This bird soars thousands of miles into the sky, riding the wind. Meanwhile, a small bird laughs and says, "Why fly so high? I just hop between bushes and that's enough." Zhuangzi's point: the peng doesn't fly because it wants to prove something. It flies because that's its nature. It doesn't worry about what the small bird thinks. It doesn't demand that its flying change anything. It just flies. Here's what this means for you. You don't act because you're guaranteed to save the world. You act because it's aligned with who you are. You act because it's right, not because it's effective. Zhuangzi wrote,
知人无己，神人无功，圣人无名。
The perfected person has no self. The spiritual person has no merit. The sage has no name. Translation: let go of the need for credit. Let go of the need to see immediate results. Let go of the need to prove your actions matter. Here's the practice. Once a week, do one environmental action anonymously. Pick up trash when no one's watching. Donate to a cause without posting about it. Plant a tree you'll never sit under. Then notice, how does it feel when there's no one to impress, when there's no result to measure? This is freedom. This is what Zhuangzi said: acting from your nature, not from anxiety. When you release attachment to outcomes, something remarkable happens. You stop burning out. You stop measuring your worth by your impact. You stop waiting for permission or validation. You just act like the peng bird, like water flowing downhill, like a tree growing toward the sun. Not because it will work, but because it's true. Here's the third and perhaps most radical insight. Our anxiety comes partly from this belief: if it's not useful, it's not valuable. We measure everything by utility. Is this career useful? Is this action useful? Is this life useful? And when it comes to the environment, we ask, will recycling actually make a difference? Will my sacrifice actually change anything? Zhuangzi says, stop measuring, start being. He tells a story about a massive twisted tree. A carpenter walks by and ignores it. Why? Because the wood is too gnarled for building. It's useless. That night, the tree appears to the carpenter in a dream and says, exactly. Because I'm useless, no one has cut me down. I've lived for centuries. People rest in my shade. Birds nest in my branches. My uselessness is my greatest gift. Zhuangzi concludes,
人皆知有用之用，而莫知无用之用也。
Everyone knows the usefulness of the useful, but no one knows the usefulness of the useless. What does this mean for environmental anxiety? It means not everything you do needs to be effective. Not everything you sacrifice needs to be worth it. Some things are valuable simply because they're true. Sitting quietly in nature might not reduce carbon emissions, but it reconnects you to the earth. Buying less might not stop climate change, but it frees you from the cycle of consumption. Teaching your children to love nature might solve the crisis, but it plants seeds for a different future. Here's the practice. Once a month, do one thing that's useless by conventional standards, but meaningful to you. Sit under a tree for an hour. Write a poem about the earth. Walk somewhere without a destination. Make something by hand that you'll never sell. Then ask, did this have value? The answer will surprise you, because value isn't measured in metrics. It's felt in your bones. When you stop demanding that every action be useful, you reclaim your life from the tyranny of efficiency. You remember that some things matter because they can't be measured. We began with pain, the anxiety, the guilt, the exhaustion. Zhuangzi doesn't promise to remove the crisis. The planet is still warming. The systems are still broken. The future is still uncertain. But Zhuangzi offers something better than false hope. He offers a different way to be in the world. Not as a separate self fighting against nature. Not as a martyr sacrificing for results. Not as a consumer measuring every action by utility. But as part of the web of life, acting from your nature, valuing what can't be measured. So here's my invitation. This week, try one of these practices. Remember you are nature. Wù Lùn. Act without attachment. 逍遥游. Embrace the useless. 无用之用. And notice what shifts. Zhuangzi Road.
泉河鱼相与出于陆，相许以诗，相濡以沫，不如相忘于江湖。
When the spring dries up, fish moisten each other with foam. But it's better to forget each other in the rivers and lakes. In other words, in crisis we cling to each other in anxiety. But there's a deeper freedom, returning to the vast waters where we all belong. You are not alone in this. You are not powerless. You are not separate. You are the earth, waking up to itself. Thank you for watching. If this brought you any peace or clarity, please share it with someone who might need it. And I'd love to hear in the comments, which of these 3 practices resonates most with you right now. Until next time, may you wander freely, act naturally, and remember who you are.